The final battle with Homelander annoyed the shit out of me. I'm currently working on a longer boys video, but coming off the heels of that finale, I just gotta talk about how ass that fight was. While the boys has never been peak action,
Blow A train.
there are just too many inconsistencies and weird stuff going on not to talk about it. Personally, back in season 1 with Maeve getting hit by the truck and Payback versus the Sandinistas were my favorite action scenes from the series. But nothing in season 5 comes close to that, which makes the final battle feel so much worse. So we're just going to go through the fight, and I'll call BS whenever something stupid happens.
Evening, cunts. Daddy's home.
First off, Butcher pulls up with a crowbar to fight God. I know it's his iconic weapon, and it would fuck up a depowered Homelander, but as things stand, he could have whipped out a balloon animal, and his damage potential against Homelander would be the same.
William. I was starting to think you weren't going to hold up your end of our deal.
Scorched earth.
Shame about the French one. How's your little science experiment going without him?
Let's find out.
Objectively, Homelander could have just dipped. Like, he made a 5-second round trip to space earlier this episode, but here he decided to just hang out. I'll acknowledge Homelander's pride and hubris may be what's drawing him into this fight, but the whole depowering blast is kind of just a proximity issue for him. It's weirdly similar to the immortal snail hypothetical. You know, you can get X thing, but you'll be pursued by an immortal snail that can one-shot you. In this scenario, as long as Homelander is anywhere other than where Kimiko is, she would kind of be a non-factor. Which is why it's crazy he's even still here. I guess Kimiko's durability got a huge boost from the radiation because she was getting 50% offed by those lasers earlier this season. It's almost like the writers forgot only Soldier Boy's blast came from the radiation and gave Kimiko his V1 abilities too. On the same note of the writers forgetting what V1 does, how has Homelander gotten weaker since shooting up 2 episodes ago? And to anyone who's pushing the V1 was only about the immortality agenda, yes, narratively, that's what the V1 is for. But in universe, we know that if a soup injects V, it acts as a PED, like we saw with A-Train in Season 1. So it's completely reasonable to expect V1 to have a similar enhancing effect on Homelander. Which is why it's crazy you can just pluck him out of the air mid-flight like this. It's wild how Homelander's lasers switch from piercing beams to concussive blasts depending on what the writers need to happen. Yeah, we're not talking about the Deep versus Starlight.
No! Bursicon!
I like how Butcher also recognizes Kimiko is taking her sweet-ass time to blast Homelander here.
No.
Isn't it weird how when Starlight flies into the deep, they shoot across DC, but when Butcher latches onto Homelander flying away, he can whip him down with one arm? Jumping off what I said earlier, why do Homelander's beams cut Butcher's tentacles, but not Butcher? It's weird because you would think the tentacles are more durable because they have to emerge through his skin, unless he has permanent holes for his tentacles like Wolverine sometimes has for his claws. Anyway, I'm thinking way too much about Butcher's tentacle. Moving on. So that move right there, as slick as it was, proves Homelander can take off without pushing off of a solid surface. So it makes all this plucking Homelander out of the air stuff feel weird as hell. It's crazy how Homelander moved at super speed last episode, but is low-key meandering now that his life is on the line.
You little piece of shit. Everyone dies, starting with you.
The fuck you waiting for now, goddammit?
What is wrong?
This Frenchie scene is kinda lame, to be honest. I thought this was going to be similar to Homelander's vision from the beginning of the season, and we learn a little bit more about what was going on with that, but I guess characters' brains just be doing that this season.
Why not? Rage is not what makes you strong. It has never been Monka. It has always been yours.
Okay, so why can't Homelander launch anybody through a wall? Butcher did just fine lobbing this Secret Service guy through the door, but the best Homelander can do is break bookshelves and damage molding. I've seen dudes named Kyle tear through walls better than Homelander in this scene. There is literally a broken window right there. The Oval Office is on the ground floor. Why doesn't Homelander just book it?
Shock and awe, my son. Blood and fucking bone. This is for Frenchie.
Bro really hit a "this is for Frenchie." I bet Carl Urban felt dumb as shit saying those lines.
Stop! You owe me all the times I could have killed you, and I didn't. I let you live. I'll give you five. I'll give you five. Okay? You can do whatever you want with it. Okay? Back up. You want your wife back. I'll have your sister. Be here. Well, just tell me. I'll take a second date, please. I'll do anything. You want me to eat shit? I'll eat fucking shit. I'll eat fucking shit. I'll do it. When you promise me. Stop me. You can't fucking do this. You can't fucking do this. I am the Homelander.
No. No, you ain't nothing. And this is for my beggar.
Brutal finish, can't complain much about post-depowering. So that was how they took down Homelander. Honestly, a real head scratcher of a fight. While it was cool on an aesthetic level seeing Butcher vs. Homelander in the White House like the comics, it's hard to ignore how the writers will make characters be as strong or weak as the plot needs them to be just to get the story where it needs to go. It's also crazy to me that the group of people who got checkmated by a locked door and machine gun fire were able to defeat Homelander with no casualties. Real quick, if the Deep and O-Father didn't interfere, what was Huey and MM's plan not to get murdered once the fight with Homelander started? Anyway, Butcher, Kimiko, and Ryan legit fought Homelander for 10 minutes and took 0 damage. As I watched this, I kept asking myself, why does it seem like Homelander doesn't have a way to kill anyone in this room? It's wild how Homelander is the least scary version of himself when he's actually fighting somebody. Bro stances up and goes from one-tapping people to pillow fists. I remember back in 2019, after I finished Season 1 of The Boys, how I couldn't wait to see this Homelander guy get put in his place. But after the way they went about it, introducing all these MacGuffins, only for the boys to end up reusing the Season 3 plan, kinda left the ending feeling unearned. This also goes to show why trying to power scale the boys is pretty pointless. With that being said, Marie and Godolkin each low diff this battle, and Homelander got devastatingly fraud checked. Anyway, stick around because I've got one more boys video in the works before I try and forget this season ever fucking happened. See you on the next Randograph.